everybody, I am Tiffany, and today I am doing another book review. I'm so excited about this book. I've wanted to read it for a while because everybody said it was fantastic. And oh my gosh, I met my expectations by like 10 times. You need to read this book. I haven't even said the name of the book yet, and I'm already saying, just read it. Read it. Read it! Thank you for joining me today. No, this outfit does not go with anything. I had just come from an audition, so I'm dressed like this still. But you know what? With the cover, it kind of works. I like this contrast right here, so I'm gonna go with it. The book that I am raving about already is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, my bad, I'm sorry. I had not read this yet. I'm pretty sure if you watched my book haul, you were like, oh, how have you not? The second book is already out, A Torch Against the Night, so I definitely need to go pick that up, like pronto. I've been wanting to read this for a really good amount of time. I had just come off of a contemporary book too, which was super good. That video is already up. It's Looking for Alaska. I'll leave a link in the description below. But the fact is that usually after contemporaries, I like to read a fantasy because fantasy and dystopian sci-fi are like my go-to. Those are my favorite genres. Hopping into Ember in the Ashes, I was so excited for it. I did try and search how to pronounce the names because I was saying them wrong apparently in my head. And then I watched another booktuber just for the fun of it, and they were pronouncing it way different. For those of you who want statistics, it has a 4.32 on Goodreads. Just take a second and let that set in. Okay, your second's out. It's amazing, right? That means it is a mind-blowing book. I gave it 5 stars because it totally deserves a 5-star rating in my opinion. So I approve. Tiffany's stamp of approval. Like I said, it is a fantasy. It definitely is a darker book. It's not your lighthearted, fluffy book, so don't go in expecting that. There's not like anything in the book so dark to a point where it just disturbs you completely, but some very traumatizing stuff happens in this book for our characters. You won't cry. I didn't cry, but again, I'm not a big crier when it comes to reading books, so maybe you'll cry, but I don't think so. I like the heavy books and the ones that have a lighter tone to that, but I also really love the dark, twisted ones in a way. Not so dark and disturbing that I can't sleep at night, but I do still like the darker stories because those tend to go to places that you don't expect, have more twists and plots to them. And if you've watched my channel, I've said multiple times, I love my plot twists. So I always look for those if I can and try and guess what's going to happen. And that's another reason why I love fantasy and dystopian sci-fi, because those are the ones with plot twists. So I've read contemporaries with plot twists too. I had no idea what this book was about, which is pretty impressive. I gotta say, I give myself a round of applause because with big books like this that are really popular, it's very easy to accidentally get spoiled for it, but I absolutely knew nothing. For those of you who want a synopsis, it follows 2 main characters. You have Laia, which I thought was Leia, and you have Elias. Laia is a scholar, and her people are under the rule of the Empire. Elias is a person that is training to be a mask, which are the soldiers for the Empire. Laia's family gets killed, except for her brother. Her brother was taken to this prison, and she wants to find a way to break him out of prison and save him. So she ends up helping out this group called the Resistance, which you can read to find out more about, and goes undercover in the training facility of the Masks, where Elias is. A lot of stuff ensues, and it's very, very interesting, very complex. The character development is amazing. Both characters go through awesome transformations, and I love it. And again, there is a darker tone to this book. So if you do want a light, fluffy book that's going to make you feel all good and warm inside, don't read this book, because no. That's really all I can tell you without spoiling you. There's a lot for me to talk about, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into the non-spoilery section. Thank you so much, non-spoilery people, for joining me. Go read this book. It's amazing. You'll love it and fall in love with it, and even though it's darker, that's okay. You'll still fall in love with it. The cover should give you a clue of that, though, because it's a darker cover, so just assume that. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. Go read Ember in the Ashes and come back, and we can talk and discuss all our feels together. Goodbye! Are they gone? This book just completely surpassed my expectations. I had no idea what was going to happen in this, and I could not put this book down. I finished this book in, I believe, 4 days. 4 days! You know how hard that is for me to do? It takes me about a week to actually sit down and read a book, at least. That's not counting the giant fantasy books that I usually read. To have a book that made me just sit down and read it nonstop, I was excited and I was happy. It was reminiscent to me of Marie Lu's books, because Marie Lu's books do that to me. Her, Alexandra Bracken, and now this amazing author. It was so good! I do like that you had two different characters that were on completely opposite ends of the spectrum. You have Laia, who's a scholar, and her people are under the oppression of the Empire. Her people are slaves. They can take them into slavery whenever they want. They raid their families, rape some of the girls in there, which was a very dark element in there. These soldiers are not nice soldiers, and they just go and destroy families and kill people and then take some of them and make them slaves. So they're free, but not really free. Since you're first introduced to Laia, you really think the direction of it is you're really going to be following her, but then it flips once you meet Elias. You still hate the Empire throughout the book, don't get me wrong, but you get an inside perspective on the side of the Empire. Yes, it is a character that rebels against the Empire and doesn't like what in the world the Empire is doing to people, but still you get more insight into that side, because the first introduction you have of a mask is them killing Laia's family, so you hate them with the passion. They are horrible people who a mask is welded to their face. I believe that the mask gets welded to their face, the more evil they become. And I know Laia is really sad that she ran away and everything, but that was the smart choice. I get it, she wants to be there for her brother, but you know what, Laia, we needed you for this book. So, you see, it's destiny. It's just destiny. After that introduction, you're introduced to Elias, and you see the perspective of a mask who doesn't like what he has to do, but you also get not just his insight, but you get introduced to all of these other kids that are being trained as masks. And you're growing a connection with them, and you're getting that they're real humans. And I really liked that right off the bat, that you're not having two characters who are kind of in the same situation. Instead, you have it on both opposite ends of the spectrum. It was kind of reminiscent to me a tiny bit of Mistborn, just because you have this girl who is all alone in the world and she ends up ganging up with these people to try and help and bring them down. So then you meet the Resistance with Laia, and I can already tell that something was off about this group, just because Aizen's just plain annoying. You can tell he's just not a good person. He's not a good leader. They think he is, but he's too involved in trying to destroy the Empire. He doesn't really look at the whole picture and doesn't really help anybody else. He looks out for himself and what he wants in this world, and he wants power. That's clear. I also get introduced to Senna, and for some reason I was picturing in my head Maggie Q. She played Tori in Divergent. For some reason I imagined her as Senna. I thought she'd be a perfect fit for it. And I like Senna. I don't know a whole lot about her. You don't get to know a lot about her. So I really hope that in the other books that you find out more about her, because I feel like she can be a really good ally, and I really, really like her. Then you also get introduced to Keenan. I don't know how I feel about Keenan. I was imagining him as a guy who plays Robb in Game of Thrones. Yes, I do picture actors in my head when I am reading books. I don't really know how to feel about Keenan. I think he's a nice guy, and I think that overall he's going to be a good ally. I'm not really sure how he's going to take Laia's betrayal. I mean, she didn't betray him, but he set this whole way for her to be free, and she gives it to Izzy, her friend. I don't like them together, and I was kind of happy that when she kissed him, though, she didn't really feel anything. You can tell she wanted to feel that passion, but she didn't. She felt it for Elias. I like her and Elias together, so they can just live happily ever after. Keenan, I'm sorry, live happily ever after with Izzy. I think he's going to get with Izzy because Izzy is the one that's going to show up and meet him. So I think he's going to fall in love with Izzy. This whole story has just a very complicated, love square. So you have, Laia, who has Elias and Keenan, but then you have Elias, who has Helene and Laius. There's a lot of people involved in this triangle square thing. I don't know what you would call it. There's a lot of people involved. I do really like how Laia really stuck to her goal throughout. Her brother was her motivation, and to get him out is her main goal. I was worried when they sent her to Blackcliff. I felt like something was up with that. I wasn't really sure. I was nervous. Her and Blackcliff, I have never had a main character so tortured in my life. I really thought the route was going to be that, yes, she was the servant of the Commandant, but that the Commandant would somehow like her and that'd be her favorite. I was wrong about that. Oh my gosh, as soon as she got March with that K on her chest, I was squirming in my seat because you just see it coming. I'm thinking somebody's gonna burst through the door and she's gonna be okay, because I just don't think my main character can get hurt right now. It's so heartbreaking, and you know she's not okay and she's trying to be strong. Laia, what Duh, are you okay? The fact that you had Izzy there and the cook who had both been mutilated by the commandant, that makes it even scarier because you know that if she steps out of line, that's going to happen to her. So that amps up the intensity of each scene with the commandant. You don't know what she is going to do. And the commandant herself, don't get me started on her. I don't know what's wrong with her, but she is crazy. And Elias is her son, and she doesn't love her son, and I'm like, you know what? Elias is a great son, so you should be appreciative that you have him. Who are you? You suck. And then on Elias' side, when you first meet him, you meet all of his friends. Helene is the main one you really have to know about, and Marcus, of course. Marcus is just, Helene, I really liked Helene. I wasn't really sure how it was going to go, but finding out why she did everything, it definitely made such a powerful impact. I think her storyline is going to be really, really interesting, and I really hope we get her perspective. When you first meet her and throughout the book, I really thought she was kind of being cruel. I was on Elias' side, and I really thought she was going to betray him. And she does in a sense by becoming the Blood Shrike, but you realize that it's to keep him alive, that if she didn't do that, she was told that Elias was going to die. I don't mind her and Elias together, but I really like Laia and Elias together. But I love Helene's and Elias' relationship. It's so open, you can tell they care so much about each other. I'm just really interested to see everything that's going to happen with her. Her being Blood Shrike to Marcus scares me. I know she's going to hunt them, but I just wonder if it's actually going to be that she does turn evil and they will have to kill each other, or if she's going to somehow get out of Blood Shrike or break her vow and end up helping them in the end. How dark this book is, I can see it going in that route of them having to have this like final battle. And then on top of that, you have this power that she's holding in, and it's considered bad because, you know, witchcraft is always bad. She can sing and she can heal people, and that's really, really cool, and I wish she wasn't so ashamed of that. And I was really touched that she went in there and healed Laia, because she didn't have to do that, and she did that for Elias, and I just felt really touched by her, and you just see a kind soul in her. I'm so interested on those trials. The first one, especially with Elias' vision, I'm really wondering what's going to happen. Part of me theorizes that something is going to happen to Laia at Elias' hand. I know that she fakes her death, and Elias thinks she died because of him, but I still think something more is going to happen. The vision that he saw was this whole field of dead bodies, and they were supposed to be the people that he killed and eventually will kill. And all of his friends were in that hallucination except for Helene, and all of them died at his hand. Some of them because they were on his squad and Helene's squad had to kill them, and some of them he had to kill himself. I could be wrong, and it could be that the buggers were playing with him and make him think that he's going to kill Laia in some way, but then he doesn't. But I think something's still going to happen with the way this tone is right now. Or maybe it will be something where she's dead and then comes back to life. I don't know, but I feel like it's still going to happen. But I feel like faking her death isn't enough, and I don't want Laia to die. Like, I really don't want her to die. Don't get me wrong. Something's going to happen to Laia. I don't think that author is afraid to go there. That third trial, though, with Helene going against Elias, that was the most intense moment. I kind of called it when they said that he was going to go up against a formidable foe. I figured it'd be Helene because Helene's his match, basically. That battle was just so intense, and I really thought Helene was going to die. There's no way they both get out of this. That's what I was thinking. And the fact that she had the armor on, I breathed a huge sigh of relief because I was not ready to lose Helene yet. I was not ready to lose her, and I was not ready to lose Elias, and I was just so conflicted reading this battle because it makes it seem like one of them has to come out alive and one of them has to come out dead. That was probably the most intense scene of the entire book for me. I was just like, I can't read. Hold up, wait, I have to read. I can't read. I have to read. I gotta say, the sweetest moment definitely, though, was when they go to the Moon Festival and Elias dances with her. I thought that was really sweet, and I loved it, and oh my gosh, it was so cute. I want to know who that tribe woman is who gave him the coin. I want to know if she's going to become more important. I feel like she's going to help them and is going to be a good ally. Telemann, I'm interested about Telemann as well. I think he's going to come into it more. Laia asked him to do something for her before the end of the book, but you don't really know what it is, so I'm really, really, really curious, and I'm still terrified. Even with Mason, I don't think Mason is the rat. I thought for maybe a little bit that he might be the Commandant's rat in the Resistance, But then his reaction afterwards, saying how he was so loyal to the lioness, who is Laya's mom, I don't know, that reaction changed my mind about it. I could see it maybe that he did something to try and kill the dad to be with the mom, but then she ends up dying too. I can see that. But if it's not that, I don't feel like he is the rat overall. The Commandant is one of the scariest people I've come across in a book because she's so smart, and every single move your other characters make, you know they're being watched. You know she's gonna find out about them. It's ridiculous. I don't know how. It's something to do with the Nightbringer, but I don't know how. Nightbringer is also really interesting. He's the only piece of history that we get in this world, and I'm excited to find out more about the history. My last theory that I have today has to do with the cook. Now, the cook is someone important. I don't know who. And if it leaves it just on a giant cliffhanger for the whole rest of the series, I'm gonna be pissed. I don't know who she is exactly. I had theories running in my head. Maybe it was the sister of Laya, or maybe even the mom. I kind of, for some reason, thought it was the mom a little bit. And maybe some of you are laughing at me if you find out in the second book, but I know there's more books coming, so it might not be revealed yet. But I could have totally seen it being Laya's mom. I mean, she's definitely older now. I don't know how old exactly the cook was in this book. I don't really remember. But she talks about how the mom was stupid and full of herself and didn't care about anybody else. And I know it seems like that wouldn't make sense that she would be the mom if she does that and hates herself like that. But at the same time, I can see it being that that's the mom and she got disfigured and went in too deep and realizes how stupid she was for leaving her kids and abandoning her family. Then at the same time, the Commandant says she killed the mom, but maybe the mom is the cook and she's really disfigured and you can't tell. Because Laya says she has familiar eyes. That hints that she probably knows the cook. My best theory right now is that it's her mom and she's really disfigured and hates herself for everything she's done and hates that her daughter is here right now and is working for the Resistance. And I kind of think her sister's still alive too. I don't think the sister died. There was just so much to talk about in this book. I'm pretty sure I missed a few things, but that's really all I have to say about this for right now. I love that it left me with so many questions. This book leaves you with so many unanswered questions. You're like, give me the next book now. I don't know how this book is gonna go. I don't know how the series is gonna go. It's just so dark. It could end up being completely fine and everything works out happily ever after and a few casualties, or it could be just massacre like Game of Thrones. That is really all I have to say about this book. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any other book or movie recommendations, leave them in the comments below. I love getting your recommendations. If you have any other type of feedback or you want to see like a Q&A or tag or anything like that, just let me know and I'll definitely take those into consideration too. Thank you so much for joining me. I post movie reviews every Wednesday, or try to at least. I post book reviews every Saturday, or try to at least, and post some fun videos on Monday every once in a while. So definitely stay tuned and always check on those days for new videos. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, whatever time of the day you're watching this, and don't forget to be awesome and read Ember and the Ashes instead of just being spoiled by me if you stayed all the way through the spoilery section. Have an awesome day, and don't forget to be awesome. Alright, goodbye!